a while ago, before we decided on our final layout of our van,
and before we started the rebuild.
Before we started the rebuild, we wanted to hire out a few different types of tiny living, just so we could find out what we liked and disliked about certain ways that people live.
Yeah.
Sting is trying to get dressed in here. You're sort of hunched over. And
I feel like we're in a Japanese hotel. We just had to pull over at the side of the road because and so they had to climb in the back because we went around the corner and the fridge door wasn't shut with a little pin in it. So the contents of the fridge has just gone.
Sprouts everywhere.
Sprouts, orange juice. We didn't spill anything. It was just the contents of the fridge. So.
The point of a tiny house is to be tiny, and I think they're just a bit too big.
And what would be more suitable for us, and what would work for us, and ideas that would work for us. Do we have a built-in shower, or do we go and wash outside, or lots of different things.
Do we tow something with the van for an extra bit of space? Do we, what sort of different things would we like?
Yeah.
So the first thing, so I've got a little bit of notes because we did hire a few different things, if you remember, and we were meant to do this pro and con thing a bit earlier than now, but we got caught up with the bill. And that sort of stuff.
The build's gone on a little bit longer than we expected, but that was because life got in the way with us.
Anyway, so the first thing we want to talk about is actually a van we first owned. The first van that I bought was a 1982 Toyota Hiace. Now this came to us already built, but it was a really, really old build, and it was done very amateurishly.
It was a little bit rough.
So when we purchased it, we redid the build, and
we wanted something a bit more luxurious because we wanted to use it more often. The pop top was getting a bit tatty, the paintwork was tatty, the upholstery was tatty, everything was tatty. So we went and got it redone. We
actually paid someone first off because we weren't sure about how to use the space effectively, and I thought talking to a van builder first.
We had no idea.
No, we really didn't.
And after building this van, we now know how much of no idea we had. It was
anyway,
mind-blowing.
So this, so Pepper was, I don't know, what are the pros of Pepper, would you say?
Well, once we revamped her, it was really good. It was nice to have a pull-out kitchen, but the impracticality of the pull-out kitchen was that if it rained hard, you couldn't really cook.
No, we're going with pros first.
Oh, okay.
Pros.
Pros.
Yeah.
She was a fun.
Silence.
She was she was fun.
The pros, I think the pros with the Hiace was we had a cool paint job on the outside. We got her as a green van, and we just didn't like the colour. We actually tried to go with green again, and we had a bit of a disaster with the paint job.
You can actually see that. Well, there is an episode.
So anyway, we decided to go with blue, and we did a truck bed camper sort of feel on the outside, which means you can sort of take it off-road, which we had the tyres. We can take it off-road and...
all the power.
And it doesn't scratch it or anything like that. So we got a lot of looks, so it looked like a kind of a combi sort of look to it. You got a lot of questions about it, people wanted to see inside, and you got a bit of attention, which, I wouldn't say we love attention, but
it was an attention grabber. It was a conversation starter.
Yeah, it was.
The only problem was it was old. It was slow.
Pros first.
Ugh. Pros. Okay.
I think the interior was lovely. It was a beautiful white. It was so well built. It had a fixed bed with all the kitchen underneath, which I thought was good because we had the pop up at the back, which means if there was bad weather, you could still cook in the back because it had that roof, I thought. So we thought.
When you expect rain to come straight down, it comes in from the side. That's one of the problems.
That's true.
Also, if you wanted to make a cup of tea at night, you had to go outside at night. And you effectively had to have the thing open all the time.
I think we should go straight to cons with
the pros were, it was fun.
It was fun.
It was a conversation
really
starter.
Nice build.
It was a great occasional camper.
You wouldn't live in it.
You wouldn't live in it.
But yeah, great weekender.
I know there are people that do, but there is people have their own standards of living, and that is for someone that is probably a single young female that was going to go out.
Well, I did buy it
Instagrammer.
Yeah.
It's perfect for that sort of Instagram thing. It was fun to have, it was fun to own, but we weren't using it the way we wanted.
The cons, I'd say, a big one for me was the engine. It didn't go very fast, and
it was a naturally aspirated 2-litre diesel manual, and with everything fitted out, it didn't really move very fast. It was a struggle to get up hills, and it was very loud in the cab. We soundproofed the cab, but it was very, very loud.
Yeah. But I love the interior, but yeah, it was just, I think it was the engine that put me off in the end. It had
an awesome classic vibe. It even had a hula girl on the dashboard.
I have to keep it classic, eh?
Yeah. After Pepper, we moved on to our current vehicle. We realised that we needed something a lot bigger and something a bit more powerful as well than Pepper. So we bought the Sprinter in its previous incarnation. It was all pre-built by someone that used to be a kite surfer, so it was very much decked out for someone that wanted to do water sports. There was a massive garage, you can get surfboards in there, there was places to hang wetsuits.
So the build basically was, just to recap, it was a fixed bed, kitchen, full bathroom, and lots of storage underneath the... So basically we want to talk about the fixed bed format. And look, we thought we wanted a fixed bed, and this is why it's important to test things out, because we thought we wanted a fixed bed.
Try before you buy.
Yeah, but when we actually lived with it, oh look, it was just no room in the main area. We didn't need all storage underneath, to be fair. We didn't have the same equipment the previous owner had, like he had big surfboards as you were saying. So we just found it was a waste of space, and we actually wanted more living space. But we didn't know that until we had it. But the good things about the old build was the storage. I mean, you could just shove anything in the back there, and it wasn't an
which
issue,
we
was
did,
it?
and we ended up being overweight because of it.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll get on to our Sprinter later because we've got a better build. Moving on, the next thing we hired, or next thing we tried, was a pod. We had a little
or teardrop camper.
Oh yeah, a teardrop camper, and because we thought maybe we can pull something as well with the van, maybe an office, maybe an extra bed, maybe, I don't know. We thought, oh, we'll try and hire something that we have to pull. Tow. Now the pros of the camper. Look, it was cute. It's not as heavy as a caravan. It had a kitchen as well attached to the bedroom inside. It had a skylight I really liked.
Yeah, it was nice. It was fun. It was cute. It was cozy. The kitchen was very well done, and the way the thing opened up at the back, I quite enjoyed.
Cooking at the back.
And the way it did actually shelter you.
Yeah,
much better than the highest in the pop top. That was more of like you was huddling under the back door. But this one was actually designed for that purpose.
If you just wanted a weekender and just something to hook onto you could pull it with a sedan. So if you could, it's just something easy, light, you could just hook it up yourself, take it off and go for a weekender. Yeah. I reckon that'd be perfect.
I've seen other people that live in them full time, which is fine, but they have had a lot of stuff in their tow vehicle, so that was their main storage area. This was practically something that you slept in and spent time in, and that was about it.
In the end, it just wasn't for us. I just don't like towing anything. I would not drive it.
And that's why you might say, oh, why didn't you hire a caravan, Sandy? Well, we didn't, because it scared us so much putting such a small little thing that we decided
you can feel it like going like this.
It just didn't sit with us, so we didn't go for anything bigger. Our intention was to hire a bigger caravan, but then we decided, no, that's not going to work for us. So.
It was. I just found it really small. Once you close that door and you basically just got enough room to sleep. You can't sort of sit up. You can't sort of watch TV. Well, not watch TV, but you can't like watch YouTube or anything. It's just feel really cramped, and you just wanted to stand. I found. Yeah. So yeah, not for us, that one.
And it was a little bit fun to get into as well.
Maybe for a younger person.
Yes.
When you start getting older. Oldies. Not that we're real old, but anyway.
So after that, we thought we'd decide and get something a bit bigger. So we went and hired a bus.
Yes. This brought us to a 1991 Toyota Coaster. No,
yes. It was a 1991 Toyota Coaster. Yes.
No, it was a 92.
What's a year? When you're at this age, what's a year?
1992 Toyota Coaster. Now, we thought we'd absolutely love this. This is probably one of our dream
upgrades.
Vehicles.
It was one of those things, well, maybe in the future when we're on the road for a long time or we need that extra bit of space and It was very similar in length to the Sprinter, so we thought, oh, that'd be great, similar width and height, and we thought, oh, this would be really good. But there were some downsides to that.
Yes, there was a lot of downsides. So even though it had a lot of room inside, I feel that having too many windows, just for one, it just didn't stay as...
It killed the wall space that you could use.
Yeah, and also
so like
there
was no, you couldn't have any decorations up because it was just all windows all the way around.
And it didn't stay as insulated as
No, it was hard to regulate the temperature in there, definitely. Admittedly, we should have got one that had a bathroom in it. This one didn't have a bathroom. It just
so
had
do we say
that
that as a con that it didn't have a bathroom? Because you would have
I think
one
it's
in there.
unfair to say it didn't have a bathroom.
It had a
didn't
toilet.
have solar. It didn't have knives either. But we've been assured by the person we came to
he got knives
hide it
now.
after he's got knives after watching our bus tour. Sorry. But yes, lots of room, lots of space. Again, it was sluggish.
It was sluggish. Also, even though it was
Very loud. It was very loud.
Oh, I thought you said I was loud. I'm like, oh,
No. No, the bus was very loud. It was an older bus, but then again, if you're going for a newer, and it was a manual, so it was a bit of hard work to drive, and also it was very loud, so it was quite tiring. It's not one of those things that I can see why people just live in them more than drive them.
I also found that it was, even though it was a similar length to the Sprinter, I found that it was a bit long. Like I wouldn't take it down to the local shop and park it in a normal car space, which I can do with this. So I found it a little bit, it's weird. I think I don't know what it is, but I would not reverse it in somewhere. I wouldn't be comfortable taking it to a normal car park and kind of fitting it in between cars. Whereas this, I backed it I was in a shopping centre and backed this straight in. I was no problem whatsoever. So I
you know
it's
where
weird.
you are with this, yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so moving on from the Toyota bus, we went and hired an RV when we went on our adventures in New Zealand.
Yeah, we always wanted to try sort of a truck sort of looking RV.
We wanted
something a little bit different, something classic, something with a bit more space, like width-wise. And we thought Wurzel was the perfect choice.
Now, Wurzel was a 1991 Ford Trader. It's a truck bed, a miniature truck, obviously, with an RV body on the back. I think they call them Class Bs or something in America. I'm not sure. Please correct me. But we just called it an RV. And so, lots of space.
What do you like? What I loved about Wurzel was that back window. You could sit in the back there on it was like a U-shaped, it was a U-shaped lounge.
It was like 270 degrees of
it was great.
HD TV.
Loved that. And it was also small enough, because I think it was only like 6 meters long, was it?
Yeah, it was shorter than this.
You could take that anywhere, and it could really tight turning circle. It
went in a car space, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. And I actually really loved Wurzel. The only thing I didn't like, well, the only thing, that's me. One thing I didn't like was you couldn't really get from the cab to the back real easy. You had to sort of climb in.
Again, it was underpowered. It's just obviously an age thing.
Loud.
Anything pre-2000 wasn't made to pull that sort of thing. All of these things were naturally aspirated. None of them were turbo diesel. No. And none of them were automatic. So
maybe we should have hired something a little bit more new.
Yeah, but there's
in hindsight.
Budgets. That's all we can say, budgets. The more people that watch these will help us to get those budgets. If you want to see newer stuff, you need to watch us more.
Please subscribe if you haven't already, and give us a like. And share with your friends.
Oh.
So anyway, back to Wurzel.
Yes, also, the other thing with Wurzel, we did notice in high winds, it was a bit of a rocker.
Yes.
And a shocker. And
a rocker and a shocker.
Yeah, a bit of a rocker and a shocker, especially when you're trying to stay straight on the road.
Yeah,
0 to 100 kilometres an hour, eventually. Wasn't bad. Pretty similar to Pepper, the Toyota Coaster. That was 0 to 100 kilometres an hour, if you could actually stand the noise.
One thing that Wurzel did have was a lot of storage, I found. It was loads. We didn't even use half of it.
No, that had
had upper cabinets and underneath the seat. And
and it also helped us decide the fact that when we were redesigning our van, that one had a bed that you made up at night,
Yeah.
every night. You put the table down and everything,
Yeah.
and we found out that we did not like that.
Do not like, I wouldn't say we're lazy people, but we're, you know, you gotta be smarter about things and like.
Time is precious, people.
Yeah.
Time is precious.
I don't want to sit and
Especially
make
when
my
you get
bed
old.
every day.
If you're young and you've got the rest of your life ahead of you, great. Make your bed up every morning. But time is precious. 60 seconds, our bed's made, and we're off.
Yeah, all we have to do is throw the covers back on, make sure it's flat, put it up, we're done. Who doesn't want to do that? And the lift bed is not that expensive. The reason why I sort of swayed away from a lift bed was because I thought they were too expensive, but they're not. They're really not, guys.
They are affordable. If you're doing a van build, they do factor in there with affordability because so I would say skylights are more expensive than beds.
Yeah.
You know,
Anyway.
once you put the skylights and max fans in and all those bells and whistles and everything, it gets pricey quickly. So
Back to Wurzel, though.
yeah,
Back to Wurzel. We're flicking onto our van. Sorry. Back to Wurzel.
Back to Wurzel. I liked it. It had character. It had a weird smell. But that was just when the shower dried out. The
Weird
black
smell. Negatives of a truck.
the
out,
waste
but they have
the
weird
waste
smells.
tank back smelt. It didn't vent properly. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was like an old dog.
You know
it was
what I
like
did-
an old dog. It was friendly. It was fun.
I
You
didn't
knew
like
was
it
great.
being so top
smelled
heavy. Top heavy. I found that.
Yeah, that was made it sway more.
Yeah, I didn't
as
like
well.
that.
All the cupboards were up real high.
The last one we'd like to comment on is a tiny home. Now this, we haven't filmed this before, but we stayed at a tiny home once. We stayed it for a couple of nights, I think, didn't we?
Yes, we
Just
did.
one
We did.
night?
This was a few years ago before we started YouTube and everything like
The
that.
one-
And got us into tiny living as well.
Yeah. The one big negative I can say about tiny houses is where to park it. You know, it's not an easy thing, especially in Queensland. And you either need a plot of land, and even if you don't, if you do have a plot of land, I think you have to have plumbing already on the property. Like you have to have a building.
There are certain restrictions.
They're building
caveats.
there. Yeah. You can't just sort of rock a bed. They can't be towed. Even though I love them, and if you haven't seen our Tiny House Festival episode, please go and check that out. I went and visited the Brisbane Tiny Homes Expo, and it was fantastic. I show you all different types of living in there. The only thing they didn't have was vans, but you know.
Yeah, some people, when they say tiny homes, they think of the small ones that you put on trailers. But they don't realise that tiny home and tiny living is vehicles, boats,
Anything.
anything that's small, compact. It can be a submarine that you've decommissioned and you want to go and live in.
Positive things about the tiny home was you don't have to.
It felt like a home.
They are homes.
They are proper homes. There's no cooking on a miniature stove or
No, it's
Oh,
everything's large as life, which it shouldn't
squeezing
be. 'Cause
into a tiny shower. It's made just like a home.
Yeah.
And they're great and they're spacious, but and the other negative is you can't move them really more than once.
I was talking to a guy at the Tiny Homes Expo, and he was saying that one of the tiny homes was cheaper because they'd moved it 3 times already, and the walls were starting to crack a little bit. So
Yeah, the seams, the joinery, everything. It's not built to move around. Whereas a van, they're made to move around, and when you build them out, it's not. The actual tiny house is the structure, whereas a van is a van and you build inside that structure. That's the difference between the two, really. And if you're relying on that structure to stay, you know, together whilst moving around,
Yeah.
it's almost
they're
like
not designed to move.
when you move
basically.
them, it's like they're being subjected to their own little miniature earthquake as they go through from one place to the other.
I think if you were into tiny living, like you live in a van or a caravan or anything like that, and you wanted to settle down, or when you get older you kind of want a bit more space, I think a tiny house would be absolutely perfect. It's not going into a fixed house as such, but you're still having that tiny feel, even though you've got a bit more space
That
and a bit more
minimalism.
comfortable. Yeah. So in conclusion,
In conclusion, what
we love our Sprinter.
Yeah, we like our van.
We went back to the Sprinter, or this type of vehicle, like a cargo sort of van type vehicle. That's
Yep.
what we like.
What we like. At the end of the day, home is what you make it. And this is what we made, and this is what we love.
So we've gone for, if you haven't seen, we haven't done a van tour yet, but we will do in the next few weeks. But what we went with is a lift bed at the back, lounge with a lounge area. We have a shower and toilet fixed bathroom in here. We've got a full kitchen.
We have an office.
We have an office of swivel seats at the front. Yeah, that's what we went with, and we are in a long wheelbase, high roof Sprinter van, self-built. So that's what we went with, and we're absolutely happy with it. There's only one thing we probably changed, but that's probably going to be in our next build. we built it all and we thought, oh, actually this would be better, but it's finished now, so we won't go.
And people do ask us, would we build another van?
Absolutely.
Hell yes.
We did have a look at, we did go to the Caravan and Camping Show maybe last year, and we had a look at the cookie cutter ones. Look, they're really nice and very nice and shiny, but
they're not your house.
No, this feels, because it's self-built, it feels like an actual home, and that's the difference between.
It's like having your own home, and someone gives you the furniture to put in it and tell you to live in that house with that furniture.
Yes.
And you go, you can't have any other furniture but this furniture because it's great. And you go, well, actually, no, I want my furniture.
But I know, I love a nice couch.
So that's why we've got a nice
window frames and
brown couch.
Yeah. So yeah, that's sort of what we went with in the end. But it's actually up to you what you would prefer, and it's good to hire all sorts of different stuff before you start building anything. Before you start buying something really expensive, just hire things beforehand.
And if anyone ever asks me, what would you prefer? What would you do? Should I buy a van? Should I get one built?
It's really up to you.
You need to know yourself.
Yeah.
It's like your own home. You could live in an apartment. You can live in a massive property. You decorate it how you want to decorate it. You want to live how you want to live. What suits you? Do you need an outdoor shower? Do you need an indoor shower?
Personally, I like a
all preferences.
Full bathroom inside.
Yes.
That's just my preference.
We're snobs. We like a bit of luxury.
That's just my preference. I like to be able to go into the toilet, shut the door, have a shower inside my own van. I just don't want to have to set up anything. We have a rule in our van: if you have to do 3 or 4 things to get something out and using it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it becomes too
too hard. But to make things as easy as possible. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our video, and I hope this helped you a lot. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. And check out our other videos on all of our other hires that we had. We've done tours on most of the things we've mentioned, so please go check that out if you haven't.
And the van tour for this one will be in the future. But not quite yet. We want to make sure we're happy with it and we've lived with it, and tell you about what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
And what did we use and what don't we use anymore. Anyway, leave a comment and we'll catch you next time.
See you later. Bye.